Hello there, my name is Gordon Bonner, and the aim of my narrative today is to tell you of my early life, my marriage to Muriel, and the value she added to our lives, which I will trust will give an insight into how the circumstances and the manner of Muriel's death has thrust me into the hinterlands of despair and despondency that is intolerable, unbearable, and unending. I was born on the 27th of May 1934, and as with many of my ilk, I suffered a chaotic childhood due to the deleterious effect of World War II, exacerbated by the divorce of my parents circa 1941. I became a ward of the state. Over the next 2 years I lived with different people and moved from house to house. I often asked myself, where then did I really live? Because as an 8-year-old I sensed that life had a temporary feel. Finally, in 1943, I moved into the care of my maternal grandparents, who lived in the rural village of Four Marks, near Oldham, Hampshire, and I remained there until I left school at the age of 15 in July 1949. In 1945, I became a pupil at Alresford Secondary Modern School in Hampshire, and it was there that I came into contact with the one person who was to have a major influence not only on my intellectual development, but the subsequent direction of my journey into adulthood. Miss Oakley, my teacher for English language and English literature. Under her tutelage, I swiftly became aware that the English language was a tool of infinite precision, in which clarity and brevity is the key to communication and a precondition to the exchange of information and ideas. In addition, in the days before television, radio and books became the conduit for the acquisition of general knowledge. As I matured and became self-aware, the end of my school days and the need to find work became paramount. Even at that early age, I was aware that my prospects were not good. With little in the way of family support, and the only work available was as a farm labourer, my dilemma was, how could I earn a living and continue my education at the same time? In the twilight of my years, as I look back some 70 years, I could say that I had a Damascus moment. I read an army recruiting poster which said, join the army and learn a trade. I seized the initiative, applied for a vacancy, was accepted, and having left school at the end of July, on the 9th of September 1949, at the age of 15 years and 4 months, I walked through the gates of the Army Apprentice School at Arborfield in Berkshire to begin my army career and continue my education, albeit technical rather than academic. The rest, as they say, is history. Graduated from the Army Apprentice School in September 1952 and was posted to Tuacat Group Workshop, Remy, in Dorchester, in the rank of craftsman. The following year I was posted to 50 Command Workshop, Hong Kong, where the first of many overseas postings I was to experience during my 45 years of service to King, Queen and country. Muriel and I began our lifelong journey in Hong Kong in 1954, when I received from a young girl a letter which began with the salutation, "Dear friend." We became pen friends and corresponded regularly until I returned to the United Kingdom in December 1956. Muriel Whiteley, my dear friend, and I married in August 1957. and she remained a significant presence in my life until she passed away some 63 years later on the 28th of April 2020. I have received many gifts in my time. The greatest gift of all was the love, devotion and total loyalty that Muriel gave me during our long marriage. In 2010, Muriel was diagnosed as having early signs of dementia. Thus she began her long, slow, but remorseless mental and physical decline. Refusing to be intimidated by the humiliations of old age, I made the determination, as an obligation in repayment for Muriel's absolute loyalty and support given unconditionally to our marriage for the previous 50 years, that I would take such steps as necessary to retain not only our independence, but care for her as long as I was able. In 2012, Muriel became a full-time wheelchair user, and as her decline progressed, I became, in 2014, her full-time carer, responsible in all aspects for her personal and bodily needs. Over the next 4 years, although challenging, demanding and hard physical work 24/7, life settled pretty much into routine. In May 2018, all that changed. Muriel suffered a heavy fall, sustained a serious head injury that required neurosurgery to repair, resulting in her being admitted into a care home for full-time care in June. The effect on Muriel and I was traumatic, to say the least. But I am from a generation that, as a matter of fact, keep calm and carry on. And for the next 2 years, I visited Muriel every day from 18:30 to 2200 hours. At bedtime, I would bathe her, dress her in her nightclothes, and put her to bed. I then kiss her and say, "Good night, sweetheart," to which she would respond, "I love you, Gordon Bonner." I would then close the door to her bedroom and every night go home to an empty house. That simple act, night after night, was emotionally difficult and must be compared to having a wounded psyche and scratching the scab off every day. Thus the wound never had a chance to heal. Little did I know that our circumstances were about to take a turn for the worse. On the 15th of March 2020, I said goodnight to Muriel. However, the next day, on the 16th of March, the care home had gone into lockdown, and when I arrived as usual, I was denied further access. For the first time, COVID-19 had reached out and touched me. What happened next? A month after lockdown, Muriel was admitted to St James's Hospital in Leeds through A&E on the 17th of April as a result of a fall in the care home. She was admitted to a general medical ward to be kept under observation. At 01:35 hours, Saturday the 18th of April 2020, I was contacted by the hospital to be told that Muriel, having been tested for COVID-19 on admission, had identified positive for the coronavirus and had been moved to a specialist care unit. Yet again, due to COVID-19 restrictions, I was denied access to Muriel. At the very moment when I felt, of all the times in our long life together, if ever she needed me to be at her side, it was then. The best I was able to receive in support was a daily telephone report on Muriel's condition from the ward sister. On the final day, 28th of April 2020, I received from the hospital a routine report at 1400 hours indicating she was stable, elevated temperature as before, but no real cause for concern. At 1700 hours, the telephone rang. It was the ward sister for Ward J43. She said, "How soon can you get here?" My reply, 30 minutes, and I did. I arrived on the ward at 17:30 hours. It was the first time I had seen Muriel since the 15th of March 2020. I spent the next hour watching her drown in her own body fluids. Because she was an extremist, she did not respond when I spoke to her. Nor do I believe that she was aware I was there. It was the most harrowing experience of my whole life, and one that will haunt me until I draw my last breath. Having watched Muriel succumb to such a squalid and vicious death, one would think that that was traumatic enough for anyone. Not so. This tragic comedy had one more unexpected twist in the tale. Due to government COVID-19 restrictions, we were not permitted to hold a proper funeral. Maximum of 10 family members only, and no service at the crematorium. To say that we were frustrated and angry is to put it mildly. Like it or not, we had to adapt, and so we did. The funeral director gave us the use of a room in his parlour, and in the presence of the 10 of us, the local priest led us in a few short prayers over Muriel's coffin. The coffin was then loaded into the hearse, and we all followed the hearse to the crematorium. On arrival, we stood in the car park as 6 strangers unloaded the coffin and carried her into the chapel for cremation. The last I saw of Muriel was the tail end of the coffin as the chapel doors closed behind her. 6 months into the mission, I have as yet to find solace and comfort of closure. Keep well, stay safe. Thank you for listening.